to Thursday Night Live with independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator Teresa Harper. I'm located in Oregon in the United States. I'm here tonight. So let's take a few minutes and see who's on and if I can get the comments to come up. Okay, so we've got sound, no comments. Come on, YouTube, help me out here and show me my comments. Let's refresh this page and see if that helps me. No. There we go. Hello, Cynthia. Glad to see you could make it tonight. All right. So let's switch this to live chat for me. And we're going to be working with the More Than Autumn stamp set, and my antivirus program is driving me crazy. It keeps popping up in the middle of my screen. All right, so tonight I've got another little treat box for you because, as I said last week, it's treat box season. And we're continuing on with the More Than Autumn bundle. 36-piece photopolymer stamp set and a 23-piece die set. I've got some of the dies and some of the stamps out. So let's go ahead and I will show you the template that I made, the little grid that I forgot to take out ahead of time. Let me grab that in case you are new to my channel and you didn't see my Facebook post or my post from yesterday morning. So this chart shows all of the stamped pieces with the die cut images, as well as all the what I like to call bonus dies. And then we have all of the stamped sentiments that come in this set as well. Hi, Julie Grassel. Oh, take me down there. Oh, I'm so glad you like this bundle. And welcome to my channel. I don't know that I've seen you on before. Yeah, North Dakota. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to put these aside. And we're going to do some stamping. All right, so let's get on with some stamping. I've got some basic white paper here. Our supplies tonight are pretty minimal. Got a couple little pieces here. And we're going to do most of our stamping in Memento Tuxedo Black. And so I've got the cup here, and I've also added the straw to this. Okay, and then we're going to, I think that's it with the black actually. I'm going to move to basic beige. Okay, so we're going to stamp the little marshmallows in basic beige. And then I've got two candy canes. So this first candy cane, we're not stamping in basic beige. Let me move to cherry cobbler. This first candy cane comes from the More Than Autumn stamp set. Okay. The second candy cane that goes in the opposite direction, I have pulled from the Snowy Wonder stamp set. So it's got the opposite candy cane. And while they aren't exactly the same, they're pretty close. And so without doing reverse stamping, I just pulled in that candy cane from the other stamp set. Okay, so what we have remaining is our sentiments, which we still need that cherry cobbler. And we're going to stamp, does peppermint fit on here? Yes. There we go. We're going to stamp the word peppermint. Oh, that's not very good. I've got too much ink. If your sentiment comes out looking like this, there's too much ink in the ink pad. And rather than get rid of the ink, I'm just going to press it down into my pad with a spoon. And then I'll be able to re-ink that. Now, I'm not going to turn that over because it's too dark and it goes through that. So we're going to put peppermint. And then I want the words grateful and for. So I'm going to pull grateful from Grateful It's Finally. And I'm going to do that in the early espresso. So I only need the word grateful. So I'm just going to stamp this down there. And I did not wet my chamois for this, so I'm going to just use a baby wipe, because my chamois is too dry to use. And then I'm going to take the word for from This Calls For. I'm just going to ink that up. This time I'm going to be a little bit smarter and just ink mostly the word I need. Just put it on the edge of the stamp pad there. And then I'm going to stamp that down like so. So now I've got grateful, for, and peppermint. And I believe that is all of our pieces. Okay. So let's go ahead while we've got the early espresso out. We're going to take some sprinkles, some chocolate sprinkles. Oh, I'm so glad you found me, Julie. I hope you find this inspiring. And I'm just going to take my sprinkles and I'm going to put those right over the top of my marshmallows. Now, my grandson thinks that when you have a hot cocoa, you have to have marshmallow. Well, actually, you have to have whipped cream. Then you put the marshmallows on, and then you put sprinkles over the top. Okay? So this is what I was thinking when I made this little treat box. So now we have all of our pieces that we need. We don't really... I'm going to color this one because it'll be nice and dry. But we only need 1 cup. Okay? So the coloring for this is really very simple and doesn't take much in the way of Stampin' Blends. So I'm going to take the dark cherry cobbler and I'm just going to color in every other stripe on my candy canes. Okay. And then I'm going to take the medium deep SU100. This is part of the Natural Tones collection. And I'm going to color the cup part in the deep. Just these little sections to give it a little bit of shadow. And then I'm going to go back with the medium deep SU300. And I'm going to blend those together. Okay. All right. So that's my cup. Oh, I forgot to color my straw here, which again I'm going to do with my dark cherry cobbler. Just every other stripe. Okay, and that is all of our pieces. So we have coordinating dies for all of these. Little images. So nothing has to be fussy cut on the little images. Okay, and then we would just put those on and those on. Okay, and we would have all of our pieces. We'll run that die through our die cut machine. And through the magic of television, well, hang on, because I need to do one more thing. Well, I'll just do it on this one. Through the magic of television, we have our pieces. So we've got our cup and our marshmallows. And here's our two little candy canes and our straw. Okay? Now, to get this, I took the cherry cobbler ink and I put a little bit of cherry cobbler on my glass mat. This glass mat is available in the online store in the online exclusive section. Just look for Glass Mat Studio. And I'm going to take a blending brush and I'm going to very lightly go right over the center here. I'm not looking for a heavy concentration. I just want a little bit. Okay. Now, I'm going to cut out the word peppermint and the grateful for, and I'm just going to do those with my paper snips. So I'm going to do a straight cut on the for. And that looks good. Good enough to me. And then we'll cut the grateful. Hello, Laura. Julie, that's funny. Okay. So now I could leave it like this, but I wanted to round my corners. So I'm just going to take my snips and I'm just going to round the corners with my snips so that I have a more rounded looking sentiment. And I'm going to do the same for the little for here. It only takes a second to do. And I just move the paper to round that around to come up with that. Okay, let's go ahead and get, oh no, I didn't want to get rid of that. I still needed it. Okay, so we've got that. And then we're going to trim out the word peppermint. But I didn't want my peppermint to be straight. So I'm just going to fussy cut out my peppermint, the word peppermint here. And again, I'm just going to move my paper with my non-dominant hand. Wiggle it a bit so it looks like it's following the lines of the word. And we'll run that around. Now, if you have trouble with this, take a pencil, run your pencil around until you're happy with it, and then cut just inside your pencil line. Okay, so now we have the word peppermint ready to go. And again, I'm going to take that cherry cobbler and I'm just going to give just a hint of the cherry cobbler to my peppermint sentiment. Okay, now we can get rid of that, so we don't need it. We're done with that. And where did I put my little dry rag? Seems to have run away. Huh. Oh, because I'm opening the wrong drawer. For those of you who don't know, I just did a mini remodel on my studio. Added a couple of drawer pieces and did up my closet, and I'm still trying to remember where I've put things. Okay, so now we have all of our pieces for decorating. So we can set those aside. We need to make our box. So here I have a piece of cherry cobbler cardstock, and this piece is cut at 4 1/4 by 5 3/4. And here is my box template. So we're going to go ahead and score this, and I can move those out of the way. I'm going to bring in my scoring tool. That is the scoring, the Simply Scored is my preferred scoring tool. So on the 5 3/4 inch side of my cardstock, I'm going to put that solidly in the corner, and I'm going to score this at 5/8 of an inch and at 2 5/8, 3 1/4, and then 5 1/4. Okay, so again, those measurements are 5/8, 2 5/8, 3 1/4, and 5 1/4. I'm going to rotate that to the short side, and I'm going to score on both ends at 5/8. So I'm going to score at 5/8, rotate it 180 degrees, and score it at 5/8. And that ensures that if I didn't cut my paper exactly 4 1/4, I will still have the same amount on both sides and end up with a square box. Okay, so now we're going to take and burnish on all of those score lines. You need nice crisp folds when you're making boxes. Okay, so we'll get all of those. Okay. So now you'll notice that when you turn this up, you have one side here that has 5/8 inches, and this is only a 1/2 inch. This is actually your box front, and this will be the tuck tab that we will tuck into our box. So we're going to grab our paper snips, and we're going to start trimming out our cardstock. Okay, so because this is the top tuck tab, we're going to cut on the score line to the right of the score line on the rectangle. And then we're going to repeat that over here on the right hand side, but we're going to cut again a straight line on the rectangle at the score line. Okay, and then we're going to come in and we're going to again cut on the large rectangle, and we're going to remove that little piece, and we're going to repeat it on this side by cutting on the score line of the rectangle and removing that. And what that does essentially is it removes the corner and the entire score line. Okay, so now I'd like to flip this over to the back side. And I'm going to cut up again. So I'm going to cut up on the rectangle. And then I'm going to angle cut on the square. Okay. And we're only cutting to this score line. So we're going to cut up again on the rectangle and angle cut on the square, which makes that a little trapezoid thing. Okay. I did not get this entire score line removed over here, so I'm going to do that now because I see that I still have my score line. And then I'm going to repeat that down here on this end, cut up on the rectangle, angle cut on the square, and then I'm going to angle cut to this. And essentially what we're making here are our glue tabs. Okay, so we're going to turn that 180 degrees and we're going to repeat that process. Cut up on the rectangle to the first score line, cut at an angle to remove that score line on the square, cut up on the rectangle, angle cut on the square. All right, and then we need to repeat over here, cut up on the rectangle, angle cut on the square, and then angle cut the outside. Okay, so this is essentially our box. Okay, get rid of those little pieces. Now this again, as I said, is the tuck tab. And I did not get this removed completely either, so let's do that. Because I cut from the front side. This is why I like to cut from the reverse side. This is the inside of the box, and yeah, I can see my score lines better when I cut from the inside. So I'm going to fold in this tab, and I'm going to take a corner rounder. Any corner rounder that you have will work. I have an old retired Stampin' Up! Corner rounder. And then I'm going to fold in on the other tab and round that corner. Okay? Now we have one last thing to do to these two tabs. Now that we know for sure this is our tuck tab and we have it all rounded, we're going to angle cut and remove just a tiny little section on each of these long rectangles that are going to tuck into our box. And if we don't remove those, it won't tuck. Okay, so we've removed those 4 pieces. And this is now looking like our template. Okay, we still have one thing to do though. We need to put a finger notch in here. I like to take my thing, and I'm going to bring this up here so you can see it a little better. I have 3 inches between the score lines here. Okay, so I'm going to give this a mark at 1.5 with my scoring tool. You don't have to do that. You can eyeball it if you like. And then I'm going to take a 3/4 inch circle punch, also retired. Center that up. That's not looking like it's in the center though. So let's try that again, because that is definitely not in the center. I don't know what I did over there, but there, I was off and I could tell it right away. Okay, so then we'll put that little mark in the center. You may not care if it's exactly centered, or you might be able to eyeball it better than I can. You do it, whatever's easiest for you. Okay, so this is going to be the top of our box. So I'm going to take a piece of designer series paper. This is from the Iconic Celebrations 6x6 paper stack. This is currently on back order, but it'll be back very shortly. Unless it's back in stock now. I think it is. Anyway, you get 48 sheets, and you get 4 sheets of 12 different designs. And I'm using the candy cane, and on the reverse are these pine boughs. Okay, so if you don't have this particular paper, you will also find in the Snowy Scenes Designer Series paper a piece that is has candy canes on it too, but it's done in real red, and then just switch your colors to real red rather than cherry cobbler. Okay? So I've done one of each so that you can see the difference. But both pieces will work. And of course you could decorate this for any season. So we're just going to put this on. This piece of Designer Series paper is 1 7/8 by 2 7/8. And now we're going to add some tear and tape and put our box together. We're almost done. Okay, so I like to put my tear and tape right up next to the score line here. That ensures that my box sides are tight and they don't flop open. So we're just going to put that right up next to the score line on the outside, on the tab side. I don't want to go over the score line, but I want to be as close to the score line as I can get. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and burnish that. Tear and tape works best when you burnish. You could also use Tombow liquid adhesive if you want to. You just have to hold it for a minute for it to grab. And that usually doesn't work very good for me on camera. So I'm going to remove all that tear and tape. I like to use the tip of my Take Your Pick tool to do that. And then I'm going to take this center tab and I'm going to fold it in and pull this bottom section up to it. Line up my score line and my cut line. I'm going to turn this over to the other side and I'm going to do the same thing. And you can see that that starts to form my box bottom. So now we're going to take these two front tabs and we're going to repeat that process. Cut line to score line. Give that a good press. If you've got a little bit of hangover on your tear and tape, just give that finger a roll and it will roll right back in where it needs to go. And then we'll do cut line to score line. And then I'm going to take my bone folder and give all of those tabs a good burnish so that that tape will adhere to the cardstock. Okay, so now my box is finished and I can close that up. But let's put a couple of Ghirardelli peppermint squares in our box. I sized it specifically to fit 2. Okay, so give that a fold down and now we're ready to decorate. So let's get our pieces. So let's add our marshmallows to our cocoa here. And I'm just going to turn this over. And I'm going to take a couple of mini dimensionals here. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put one over here on the, what would be the left. Okay. Because now, before I put that second dimensional on, I want to take my straw and a glue dot. And I'm going to put the glue dot on the front of my straw. And if you'll notice, the way this cuts, it cuts with a little bit of extra room at the bottom so that you can glue it. So I'm going to put that little extra little white right there on my glue dot, and take my glue dot, and I'm going to add this to the back of my marshmallows. And then I can go ahead and put a second mini dimensional here, and I will overlap that so it not only hits the marshmallows, but it also hits the straw, so that I have double secure, double adhesive to secure. Now I'm going to just take 2 large dimensionals, and then I'm just going to set this here, and I'm going to bring in my words, and I'm going to lay these down how I think I would like them. Okay, and then we'll put the peppermint down here. Okay, and I'm happy with that. So I'm going to go ahead and glue these on, and for that I'm just going to use some liquid glue, and my cinnamons are going to go down flat. Remember, with Tombow, just a dot, not a lot. We're going to cover up that little, keeping my eye on that little candy cane, because that's where I want my 4 to go back. Right here. Okay, and then we'll take my peppermint. And we'll add that to the bottom here. Okay, and then we're going to take our little candy canes here, and I'm going to make a little heart with my candy canes. Now, you could just put this on here and be happy with it. I'm a little persnickety, and I don't like the white there. I want this to look like it's one seamless heart. So I'm going to take and trim out the white on the one side of the candy cane, just so it looks like that's just one piece. Okay, and I'm only going to do just the one so that it looks, I take just a bit off of here, because I want that to look like, instead of 2 pieces, it's 1. Okay? So that's how we're going to do that. So I'm going to take just a tiny bit of glue here, and I'm going to put it at the bottom of there and right there on the hook. Just those 2 tiny little dots. And I'm going to put those together and maneuver that until I'm happy with how it looks. Okay, I think I might want to take just a pinch more white off of here. There we go. And then I can flip this over and add a couple more dots of glue and stick this on my cup. Okay. And then I can remove my adhesive backings and add this to my box. Just like that. Okay, and to finish this off now, we're going to take the iridescent faceted gems, and my Take Your Pick tool, and I'm going to take one of these smaller ones, and I'm going to put it up here, and then I'm going to take a larger one and stick it there. Scoot that over just a pinch, and then I'll take a second large one and I'll put it over here. Okay, and then to make sure those stick, I'm just going to put my finger behind the gem and the box lid and use the cap on my Take Your Pick tool to give that a nice good press. And there is the project that I have for you for tonight. I hope you like that. Now, I do have a Stampers Group social over on Facebook. It's the KNT Designs by Teresa Stampers Group social. And if you make some, I would love to have you post over there and show us what you made. Okay, so here again is our template. Let me turn that up so you can read it. Here is our box in Cherry Cobbler using the Iconic Celebrations paper. Here is our box in Real Red using the Snowy Scenes Designer Series paper. And we've got the Peppermint Bark Ghirardelli squares in there. And there you have it. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. If you liked this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with your crafty friends. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I will see you Tuesday night on Facebook for another Facebook Live at 7 p.m. Pacific time, and then back here again next Thursday on YouTube at 7 p.m. Have a good night. Have a good week. We'll see you later. Good night.